Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I can use this, that, or three. Yeah, it's okay.
Welcome, thank you. Big thanks, grateful to be here. Wonderful to have an event like this, and big thanks to Kip, Keegan, Tara, Theo, all the organizers, all the volunteers, all the attendees that make events like this possible. As much as it's important we go out of the vegan bubble, it's so amazing to be in it. So great to have you all here. So a little bit about my story. Well, oftentimes when I tell people that I'm a yoga teacher, the response usually is, oh, that must be so relaxing. Like somehow, because I'm a teacher, I don't have a yoga teacher, I don't have any problems, and everything is like rainbows and butterflies all the time. I think it's also assumed that my parents raised me this way, that I had vegetarian hippie parents, which couldn't be further off from reality. I grew up in the suburbs of Dayton, Ohio, and I attended Catholic schools, wore the clean white shirt, plaid skirt, pretty much traditional Catholic family upbringing. And the holiday traditions that go along with that, the food typically that goes along with that, German-Irish family, meat and potatoes pretty much, and lots of sugar cereal in our family. So my upbringing, I would say, not very conscious. At best, my family recycled. So in my younger years, to even consider that I would eventually be a yoga teacher is like so far off, or even a vegan, so far off. But in college, I was introduced to vegetarianism through a friend, and then later to the practice of yoga. And what I found is that the practice of yoga connected me to something much different than any other form of exercise did. I felt a deep sense of peace and calm and ease. And at the time I was exploring with vegetarianism and simultaneously getting into yoga, and certain things just started to fall away. I became much more intuitive about how my body felt when I was consuming things. So even though I was not consciously a vegan, dairy kind of fell out of the picture, flesh obviously was out of the picture, and eggs became out of the picture. And about 6 months into my yoga practice, which is pretty much physically based, I would say, I decided I wanted to do a yoga teacher training to learn more. No intention to become a yoga teacher, just did it for my own self-growth. And in the process of that teacher training, I met a man named Doug Swenson, and he was the first vegan yogi I ever encountered. I didn't even know such things existed. And he talked about the practice of ahimsa, which is nonviolence, is a core teaching of yoga. And he brought together what I really was the missing piece for me in my yoga practice. Like, it was already feeling like I don't want these things in my body, and then he brought it together with the non-violent part. So I'm so grateful for that, and grateful for the vegan yogis that are out there actually spreading the philosophy of yoga. And so anyways, I really got connected to, obviously, a yoga practice and then a vegan lifestyle. I would say now yoga is essentially the foundation of my life. It's pretty much the vegan glue that holds my life together. It's not that I don't feel the ups and downs and the heaviness of life on this planet, because how can you not feel the heaviness of life on this planet? I mean, I think that's why we're all here and why we like to be in this vegan bubble, because we're all feeling the heaviness of life on this planet. So it's not that I don't feel those things, but what my yoga practice does, and when I talk about yoga practice, I'm not talking about put your leg behind your head. I'm talking about the meditation, the mindfulness, the awareness of really every choice we make every day. And of course, there are lots of benefits to the postures. Two things I'll mention as a side note that many people don't know is that one is that the yoga postures were really developed to connect us more deeply to the earth and fellow beings. When we put ourselves in these different forms, and if you've been to a yoga class, you'll know that there's different names for poses, dog, cat, dog, tree pose, and on of different animal names. So when we're taking these different forms, we're putting ourselves in someone else's shoes. That's essentially what our practice is to develop greater empathy and greater compassion. That is why we're putting ourselves in the position of the dog. We're putting ourselves in the position of the cow. And it's not always easy, and it's not always pleasant to put ourselves in those challenging forms, but it develops greater empathy and compassion. The other aspect is that we are intentionally putting ourselves in a stressful position. So we twist, we turn, we go upside down, and we're intentionally putting stress on the body so that we learn how to handle the stress and tension that is inevitable in life and be able to handle it with more grace and ease. So that availability is always there to take a deep breath and pause and breathe. Or we can hold our breath and grip and and hold on to whatever we're holding on to. So the poses are really the practice for maintaining a state of peace and calm, and they're meant to challenge us because we're meant to be challenged and maintain a steadiness, peace, and ease in the midst of that challenge. So as I said, the practice of yoga is really what holds my life together, so I can go through the ups and downs with greater ease. And probably the thing that's most present for me right now is, you probably saw my son maybe running around here. He's 3. People warned me about the terrible twos. What they didn't warn me about was 3-nager. And it has been, anyone that has children can probably relate, but it has been a trying time. And just to give you an example, avocado toast is a staple in our family. And every morning I cut his toast into 4 pieces. And just because I like to not do exactly the same thing every day and just switch things up, one day I cut his toast into triangles instead of squares, and you would have thought it was the end of the world. He was sobbing, crying, "I can't eat avocado toast, triangles, I only eat squares." I mean, this went on for 20 minutes of him putting up this huge fight and refusal, and I could feel the frustration building. Just like, it's kind of like having a dialogue with someone that doesn't share your political views or someone that's not a vegan. You can feel the frustration building. And, you know, if it continues to build, I'm gonna throw that plate of avocado toast across the room. And otherwise, but what I work to do is maintain my cool and take a deep breath. And it's hard, because especially when you know the things we all know about what's happening on this planet, and here my 3-year-old is crying about avocado toast when there is so much suffering and oppression happening to the others that are out there. And of course he doesn't understand that, but it's frustrating for me. So I can let that frustration build, and I can let it build to a point of anger till it comes out as anger and I throw the plate across the room, or I can lock myself into the bathroom for a few moments, which I sometimes do, take a few breaths, get a little space, and come back and explain to him his options. So that's probably what's present for me. And I will say I've been vegan for over 15 years and been part of lots of activism events, and seriously, nothing has challenged me more than my 3-year-old. I mean, I can be totally honest that nothing has challenged me more. No argument or debate with any carnivore. He knows, no one just knows what buttons to push. And we all know the people in our lives that do that. So how we react, and of course as vegans we want to react with compassion. So that is probably what what is present for me most in my yoga practice, but something that can benefit all of us, to take a step back, take a deep breath. And of course, I'm able to do that because I have a regular practice of putting, like I said, putting the stress on my body, putting myself in a stressful situation so I can handle these ups and downs with greater peace and ease. All right, so having these tools, the meditation, the mindfulness, all the different aspects of yoga, of course the eating healthy and all of these things are assisting us with handling things in the present moment as they come. And ultimately, burnout happens when we have regret about the past. We're dwelling in the past. Oh, I should have said this, or I should have done this, or I could have done this better, or I could have done more, and on and on. Or when we have anxiety, or we're stressed about the future. And when we are regretting or dwelling or living in the past, or we are having anxiety about the future, which we are unable to control, what results is a fight or flight response in the body. But when we're living more fully in the present moment, and we're here in the now, then what results is a rest or relaxed response. And that's ultimately what the practices of yoga and the things that fit under that, meditation, poses, the practices of being kind, the practice of being conscious of our actions, all of these things assist us with being more fully in the present moment. That's ultimately the root of burnout, is not being here in the present moment, dwelling in the past, living in the future. The practice of yoga itself, I feel, is part of my activism. There's a huge shift happening right now that I'm seeing in the yoga community. And there's kind of two, you say, the old and new paradigm, not right or wrong or good or bad, but just two different paradigms. The old paradigm is you find a guru and you get as close to that guru for as much as you can and for as long as you can. And if someone feels compelled to do that, then I surely invite them to do that. But the new paradigm, and what we encourage at our studio and the people that come to us, is that you take a yoga class, you get involved with community, you get involved with activism based on yogic principles. For example, ahimsa, nonviolence. So the practice of veganism really goes hand in hand. My yoga practice has inspired me to be part of lots of other projects. I've talked to some of you here about the school we started, and I think when Will did his talk, he mentioned the Jubilee Peace Fest that we organized, which was a yoga, music, animal rights event that brought together lots of different speakers. That's actually how I met Kip. He attended the event. And anyways, organized that for years, which was lovely. And then I got pregnant, and it became, this is one of the things you have to know for burnout, is what your limits are. And I could no longer sustain planning that event while having a child. But then, once I had Noah, I was like, what am I gonna do about school? And this became, anyone that is a parent and a vegan, it's like a major dilemma of what to do. So several people in our community, of our yoga community, vegan community, were having children. And we had some information sessions, said who would be interested, this is a few years ago, who would be interested in this vegan school? And it's not just a school where we teach, or where the kids eat plant-based food. It's a school where empathy and compassion is integrated into the core curriculum of academics. So, yes, thank you. And they're learning veganic permaculture. They're connecting with sanctuary animals. It's not just plant-based food and school. It's part of the overall curriculum. So we just finished our first year, actually just a few days before we came here. Actually on our last day of school, we signed a contract for a 3-acre property because we're going to expand and take more students. Yeah. So super stoked about that. It's something really close to my heart. I'd like to believe that even if I did not have a child, that it's something that I would do, because as we know, the children are our future. And the really amazing thing that we're finding is that we have, well, the school wouldn't survive with vegans alone. So we have vegans and non-vegans, vegans and pre-vegans in the school. And the children are teaching the kids, the children are teaching the parents. And so whether it's they're teaching the parents about compost, they're teaching the parents, I don't really want to go to the zoo anymore, they're teaching the parents. And that's really the beauty of it, is that's not coming from us, it's coming from the kids, which is pretty amazing. Some of the photos, this is food that we serve at the school. And we use all natural dyes. The annatto, that is an amazing food coloring. I had no idea about the health benefits until the talk, so that's amazing to know. So yeah, some of the photos you're seeing on here are from my book. Some are from the schools. A few pictures of my son Noah. But anyways, I think it's really important that to avoid burnout, to find something that inspires you to be active. And for me, and I think it's different for everyone, we want to do something that shakes up the status quo, but also allows us to maintain our peace. And for me, that's been creating events, creating spaces, creating businesses where people come to me. So versus standing outside the zoo and ruining a family's good time, which is, obviously I'm all for protesting zoos, but I would rather that family come to our restaurant or come to our school or come to other events that we have where they're choosing to be there versus me kind of invading their space. I think there's all different forms of activism, but for me, I get burnout really quickly doing that. So I like creating spaces where people come to what we're doing. They come to a yoga class and they're like, I had no idea veganism was connected to yoga. They come to eat at a restaurant. We're working on opening up a vegan restaurant too. It's not open yet, but it will be. But it's part of our business model. It's connecting the yoga with the food. So people take a yoga class and they see, everything here is vegan, interesting. So making those connections. But I think it's really important that we find the activism that is suitable for us. And I also, like I already said, the vegan bubble is so important to me. I think it's really important that we have community. We are, as vegans, unless you were raised by vegan parents and you've been vegan since birth, we're all essentially in recovery from trauma, from being force-fed animals. And I think it's important to recognize that, and also to recognize it's not easy to recover. So it's important to have community, to be part of a community, even if that means a few friends that you have. We have a yoga teacher training program where veganism is a core teaching. And we meet once a month for a year, and we also have a month intensive program. But what we've found is that group of people is like this small community that supports each other, because most people in our training, they have spouses or they have family members that just are not interested, not supporting their lifestyle. And what happens is after training ends, if they don't connect and keep coming to classes and keep plugging into the community, it's very easy to not be vegan or to get burnt out and just to kind of give in to what the rest of their family's doing. So community is huge. And I've got, so 10 skills to improve upon for self-care. Connecting with community, being with people that share your values is number 1 on my list. And I'm just gonna read through these, count them so you know. So community is number 1. Number 2 is healthy boundary setting and knowing your limits. And also, don't be a people pleaser. You don't have to say yes to everything. You have to know what your limits are. Number 3 is eating. And obviously, we know we're eating a plant-based diet, but also think about being mindful when you eat. So not eating when you're watching TV, not eating in your car, not eating in a rush, and really taking the time to chew your food, enjoy your food, appreciate your food. Number 4, sleeping. I highly recommend 10-minute naps if you can, or even just lying down on your back for 1 minute just to rest, and knowing what your optimal amount of sleep is at night and getting it. Number 5, exercising. Getting at least 20 minutes of cardio a day is huge for me. And also, obviously, I'm a yoga teacher, so I'm big on moving the body, stretching, all of breathing exercises, all of that. Of course, breathing is the next one, number 6. Being aware of your breath and practicing specific techniques to expand your breath and not do shallow breathing. This also helps when the frustration, anger, things like that start to rise. The deep breathing is what calms us down. Number 7 is thinking, so practicing meditation, practicing mindfulness, and also I think a part of that is, and very, very challenging for us to do, is get out of the right, wrong, good, bad mentality. And that's having conversations with other people that I found works with the different business models we have between the sanctuary, the restaurant, and the yoga studio, is to explain these are choices that lead to this outcome. These are choices that lead to this outcome. I'm not going to call someone a bad person because they take these choices and I take these choices. But it's important for people to know that each choice they make has a particular outcome. And I think if we can get out of saying someone's good or bad or right or wrong, it can help with really getting the message out there and really come from a place of empathy and compassion when we speak to others. Number 8 is connecting in nature, getting plenty of fresh air and sunlight. Number 9 is drinking plenty of water, and ideally purified water without the fluoride. I think Paul Watson, he talked about yesterday about intuition and kids being very intuitive. Well, the fluoride in our water destroys our pineal gland and pituitary gland, which is connected to our intuition. Intuition is connected to our ability to empathize with another. And if we can't intuit, we can't empathize. And if we can't empathize, we can't share compassion. All of these things are connected. It's kind of like a circle. Intuition leads to empathy, empathy leads to compassion. And when we're drinking water with fluoride, it dulls our ability to intuit, and it dulls our ability to feel what another is feeling. And almost all of our water sources have fluoride now, which is no surprise that we're continuing to be dulled, our intuitive sense, our ability to empathize. So drink water, pure water. And then number 10 is to create daily rituals. So if that means you just get up out of bed, you drink your non-fluoride water, and you sit for 1 minute without turning on a device and breathe, that can be a daily ritual that you do every day. It doesn't have to be complex. Just something simple that you can do every day. Okay, checking my time here. All right, something a little bit different that I'd like to do with you guys is some small group work. You received these cards. On the back of, well, actually, you know what? We're going to do these action steps last, so forget this for now. What we're going to do is we're going to have some discussion questions. I'm going to ask you guys to be open, be vulnerable. We are in this safe space, in this safe vegan bubble, and I'm going to put forth some questions for you guys to discuss. And we won't have a lot of time, but I'd like you to get, what you're going to do is you're going to get into a group of 3, at most 4, and you're going to talk about you're going to answer this question with your small group. And the idea here is to, well, you know what, we'll just start and then I'll talk a little bit more about that. But the question is, what are the crossroads you're at this stage in your life? What are the crossroads you're at this stage in your life? I'm going to give you like 3 minutes. Get into a group of 3, probably people close to you, and discuss this. What are the crossroads you're at this stage in your life? Hey, you guys, if I bring that mic down here, am I going to mess anything up? No. Like, will it?
You can bring it.
Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure, because sometimes, like, if you walk in front of something, okay. All right, I think I'm just going to stay down here for the rest of my talk, if that's okay.
Help you with bringing the...
Oh, no, I just need the microphone.
Yeah, bring
so,
it. You want for people also?
Yes, that would be great.
You want 2 or 3?
Just 2. So, okay. Are they both on?
Yeah, they're turning on.
Okay. Okay. The yellow one that's on now.
Yeah, the other one we can. When
okay.
You start talking,
I don't need it yet. You know what? I only need one because I'll just hand them my mic.
Okay, and you're going to be close to the people.
Yeah, I'll just give it to them. No problem.
Okay.
Yeah. What's that?
We did our homework. We answered those questions.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah, I wanted to do something a little bit different, get people, because community is like, this allows people to just more deeply connect with each other. So.
You know, I don't know if you know Carol Adams.
Oh yeah.
We were interviewing her, and she was at the end of her interview. She put out this question that she normally wants to ask to the people, and it's like, what are you going through? What are you going through? And it's like, that's basically the same, right? In different languages. Like,
yeah.
It's like, tell me, share your deepest
Yeah.
situations, right?
Yeah. Okay, I know that wasn't too much time, but we're gonna pause. You guys are gonna switch groups because I don't want you to get too attached to that group. And the next question I'm gonna ask is, what are the conversations, or you know what? Let's do this one because there's not enough time. What in your life are you postponing saying no to? What have you said yes to in your life that you no longer mean? It's no longer genuine. So what is it in your life that you're postponing saying no to? What have you said yes to that you no longer mean? You guys get it? Okay, so work with different people because I want you to connect with different people in the room. So again, you can still work with people close, but try to work with a different group of 3. All right, one more question. The next question, and if possible, switch groups again, but the next question is, what are the gifts you are sharing with the world? What are the gifts you're sharing with the world? Or what is a gift that you have not yet brought into the world? And if this question is overwhelming for you in terms of your gifts, it could be a smile to a stranger yesterday. So, yeah, what are the gifts you are sharing with the world? What is a gift that you have not yet brought into this world? A few minutes. Okay, let's come back. We only have 5 minutes left. Yeah, please continue the conversations after my talk on the break. But I'd like to get at least 2 people from this larger group here. So any volunteers to come up and take this microphone and share what struck you about this experience in your group. So, yes, yes, yes. Okay, thank you.
Jiva Mukti teacher.
All right.
I'm Terry Lewis.
Ah, hey.
We met online.
Yeah.
But we're same Jiva teachers. Sorry, I got a vegan donut in my hand. Okay, what do I need to share?
What struck you about this experience?
How sweet Steve is. Where is he? There he is. And I love looking into his eyes. He's got a bright light about him. That struck me that was beautiful. And he's going to follow through on that idea of inviting friends over so he could come in.
Awesome. Awesome.
Exchange, yeah.
Thank you. All right. Awesome, awesome. Anyone else want to share? Brave, yes.
Okay, on the question about our gifts, my gift is seeing connections, and so I found a filmmaker and someone who needs to be filmed. So we've got a singer who has created a collection of songs about veganism, And she has shared it with her students. I don't know what her students are, but she shared it with them, but she wants to now, she's reluctant to share it with others. But I have a filmmaker who's an expert on all that. And I'm trying to bring them together.
Woo! All right. Awesome. Well, thank you all for just being open, being vulnerable, taking the microphone. Taking the microphone is not one of my favorite things. When I did a public speaking class in college, it always made me want to throw up to go up and use the microphone and talk. But, you know, especially since becoming vegan and being an activist, I don't have that so much anymore because it's not about me. So that's part of why I'm able to get up and speak in front of others, because it's not about me, it's about all the others, it's about the earth. So I can, thankfully for my yoga practice and for having something bigger than myself to work on, I'm able to do this kind of thing. And I thank you all for sharing and being open and being vulnerable. Lao Tzu said that if you're living in the past, you are depressed. If you have anxiety, you're living in the future. But if you're at peace, you're living in the present. So that's really what our goal is here, is to be present for each other, present for our communities, and to find greater peace within ourselves, share that with others. I'd, of course, love to talk with everyone more. I'd also love if you checked out my book and I don't have to then bring it back to Cincinnati. My luggage case for the books broke on the way here, so I really have to get rid of all these books before I leave. Please, please. This is a great book, whether you're new to yoga or you're an experienced practitioner, or you have a yoga teacher that you want to introduce to veganism. It's a great book for that. But it's the World Peace Yoga book, and Will Tuttle and Madeline Tuttle, we collaborate with them when the World Peace Diet came out. They were huge inspirations and being a catalyst for more change for us, and fueled a lot of our projects. So anyways, thanks. Please come and talk to me about the school, anything. I'll be here pretty much the rest of the day, and have a wonderful day. Yeah.